Hi everybody, this is Angie from Tourangie.com, and I had a request for Abbs Valley, so this is going to be the Abbs Valley but video. Today, right now, I'm on Big Branch, a branch road that takes you from Falls Mills to Abbs Valley. Right up here at this stop sign, if you turn right, it takes you to Bozavane, Pocahontas. I've done a video on that, and I'm going to link it to this video. I did it last year, but we're turning left through Abbs Valley. Now, one thing you cannot see right here, but right beside me to the left is a building. And it's affiliated with the coal mining industry, basically. Back in the day, that's where the coal miners would meet. It was the UMWA meeting spot. There's a little plaque there on the building talking about it. But I figured I would mention it just because I was right beside it. So Abbs Valley is an unincorporated little community. Honestly, I don't think it's that little. It's tons of houses through this area. So it says that there's only like 300 people living here by the census, but it appears to be more. Maybe I'm taking more just because of the length of this road and all the houses maybe aren't not fully considered to be in Abbs Valley. But it seems to be like there's a ton of houses through here. Anyway, it's beautiful country out here. Farmland in the valley, obviously, but in between the two mountains with this pretty road. That's partly why it's called Abbs Valley. But the other reason, it's because of one of the first explorers to the area. So before we talk about Abbs Valley, Absalom, we're going to talk about the James Moore Homestead. It's just up here on the right. It's Captain James Moore, and we'll be passing by Abbs Valley Elementary School on the left, and just past it is the homestead. And we're going to talk about it for just a second. There is historical evidence right here at that spot. Of course, it is the homestead of James Moore. It's just up ahead on the right. I want to really be able to point it out for you. It's just up ahead. Anyway, but back at the time of the Indians being the only people in this area, this was a Native American site. Right here it is. See that little monument right there? And there was a historical marker there. That's where the site is. It's Captain James Moore Homestead. Of course, like I was saying, the Native Americans had their homes there, a site there at one point in time. Actually, it was during the Woodland area, if you are familiar with that. But when the new settlers first came to the Abbs Valley area, James Moore was one of those, and this was where his homestead was. So yeah, James Moore was a local militia captain, and of course was involved in the Revolutionary War. His homestead was here in 1772, and then in 1786 he was killed by a Shawnee party, or Shawnee Indian raiding party, and it took his family prisoner, took him captive. In fact, it is said that I believe it was his wife and his daughter, when they were taken captive, they were burned at the stake in Ohio with the Shawnee Indians. But James Moore, Scotch-Irish descent, of course, was one of the first ones to come to the area, even though Absalom is the other one that's credited to giving Abbs Valley its name. But let's talk some more about James Moore since we're on him and the massacre and everything. But he was appointed a lieutenant of the militia for Montgomery County on February 26th of 1777 and had a captain of militia on August 4th of 1778. It is said that his Revolutionary War pension claim was filed in Tazewell County, Virginia, and that James Moore was commander of the Davidson Fort on the Bluestone from 1777 until the Indians came in 1786 and killed him and took his family. I'm going to go into more detail about that massacre. It was July of 1786. A party of 47 Indians of the Shawnee tribe entered Abbs Valley. Captain James Moore had kept 5 or 6 loaded guns in his house and figured that they would be able to assist if a raiding if a raiding party was to show up at the area. But that morning, Captain Moore was at the Lick Bog, a short distance away from his house. He was salting his horses, and he had many horses. William Clark and an Irishman were reaping wheat in the front of the house, and Ms. Moore and the family were inside the house doing some housework. And a man named Simpson, who lived with them at the time, he was upstairs, but he was sick in the house. The 2 men that were in the field saw the Indians coming at full speed down the hill toward Captain Moore. And basically, he was shot. He got shot and died immediately, Captain Moore did. His 2 children, William and Rebecca, who were returning from the spring, were killed at about the same time. The Indians had not approached the house yet, but they were met with 2 fierce dogs. They killed one and subdued the other. The 2 men reaping, hearing the alarm and seeing the house surrounded, fled and alarmed the nearest settlement. At the time, the nearest family was 6 miles away. And as soon as the alarm was given, Ms. Moore and Miss Martha Evans, who was living with the family, barred the door, but it didn't help. There was no way that they could defend themselves basically at this point in time. Martha Evans, I think it was Martha Evans at this point, took 2 of the guns and went upstairs to where Simpson was. And, Simpson had been sick and told him to shoot, but at that point it was too late because Simpson had already been shot in the head. Martha Evans went to the far end of the house and lifted up a plank on the floor and crawled under it and asked one of the kids to go under there too. I think her name was Mary or Margaret. Anyway, Martha Evans remained under the floor for a short time and then came out and hid herself under a log that lay across from the branch, but not far from the house. It's funny that one of the Indians went over there and sat down on the log, and that's when she just gave up because she thought he was coming to get her, and she just gave up then. But basically, the Indians grabbed all of them. It was Miss Moore and her children, John, Jane, Polly, Peggy, and then obviously Martha Evans too. John was killed first. After the Indians had taken them prisoner and started to leave the area, and then the baby was killed, bashing its head in on a log. Like I had mentioned earlier, the mother and one of the daughters was burned at the stake when they reached the town in Ohio. And there was 2 though that lived. It was Martha Evans and Mary Polly Moore. They were ransomed in 1787 by Thomas Evans, brother of Martha. So they did live. Anyway, it's a really interesting story. In fact, one of the descendants has written a book about it, and it's called The Captives of Abbs Valley. So you can buy the book. It's available through Amazon or anywhere that you would like to buy a book. But I want to give a shout out to Emory Hamilton. I found a lot of information from a website there that he had written about the capture. So let's talk about Absalom Looney. Of course, there was the historical marker. Absalom Looney he's basically credited Abbs Valley, Absalom. But it was him, James Moore, and Robert Poge were the first settlers in the area. Absalom was originally from Cork County, Ireland, and came across the ocean and moved into Virginia. And him and his wife had at least 18 kids. It was at least 9 boys and 9 girls. There could have been more. But he died in the late 1700s after the Revolutionary War. And he was buried in back in the area where he was from, Botetourt County, Virginia. in that area. So yeah, that's some pretty interesting information right there, that he had 18 kids. I couldn't even imagine. Anyway, this is about it for the video today. I could have talked about so many other different things about Abbs Valley, but I wanted to talk about the history of the actually first settlers and a little bit of the captives at Abbs Valley, the people that were captured by the Shawnee Indians. So I'll just shut this video off. I hope you enjoyed Abbs Valley. It's going to continue on. I'm going to continue this video on several more videos into Bishop and back into Tazewell and that route. So this is Angie from Tourangie.com. Come to my website, read my blogs, make appointments so I can help you plan your next travel adventure. Talk to you later.